Welcome to the Dex on Global Television on this 20th day of September 2024. What is happening in the stories around the country at this point in time? We'll talk about a few things, developments to issues in the country on the desk this evening. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course, joining me is Aliu Ilyas. He's an economist and a development expert. Good evening, Mr. Ilyas.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you today. So many things happening in the country, and we will be talking about a few out of it with our focus on what is happening in Edo State. Edo State is somehow, I don't want to say it's on fire, but then I think it's boiling. Everywhere in Edo State is boiling right now in all the local government. We're being made to understand that right now materials have arrived Edo State in some local governments, and some of the polling units are yet to get their materials, but it's been assured that materials will get there. And reactions have actually been coming from different quarters. Someone said it's a fight between big guns, and of course that is what politics is all about in every election, whether it's local government, whether it is state election, governorship election, or whichever election it is, House of Rep, senatorial, presidential, whichever it is not always something to be pushed aside. And quickly, let's look at what is happening in Edo State. And of course, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is making a statement. Most times in every election, there is this statement that people make. Let the election be credible. Let it be civil. Let it be free and fair. But in the actual sense of it, some Nigerians will tell you that they don't even know what a free and fair election is, depending on the individual. Some will tell you the election was free and fair, free of any form of hitch. But right now, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is making a statement. And I just want to take you through what the President has said a little bit before I allow you react to it. And some questions will be coming from me. As a matter of fact, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, urges civility, respect for democratic process. President Bola Tinubu, as I said, has called on all stakeholders in tomorrow's election, which is going to be coming up in Edo State, talking about the governorship election. And he said the election should be conducted, and everyone who is going to be part of the election should conduct themselves and ensure that the election is peaceful, and of course everything should be done sportingly. The president, in a statement by his spokesman Bayo Onanuga, implored the governorship candidates, like I said earlier. Big guns are the ones running for this election. You know who they are already, and you can see that some party members were actually in Edo State from the day before yesterday until yesterday. I don't know if they are going to remain there. I think people who are from Edo State are the only ones permitted to vote in that election. I don't know if they are still there or they have gone. But as a matter of fact, the president has already made a valid statement through his advisor. And of course, he has spoken to every of the governorship candidates, political parties, and supporters to respect the democratic process. And not just that, and that the people's will should be allowed to have its way. He also noted that the Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, our, should I say Almighty INEC? Almighty INEC has been given the instruction, and he has also spoken to INEC that they are committed to conducting a free and fair election, and he is the president. He has spoken, and I think so it is going to be. And he also urged them that the stakeholders should work together to ensure a successful and peaceful election. In addition, the president also expressed unwavering confidence in the professionalism. This is where my attention actually came in. Not that everything that I've been saying doesn't interest me, but as a matter of fact, he said the confidence in the professionalism, not just that, integrity of the security. He has confidence in them, the security agencies. We heard that there is a massive presence of security operatives since morning. And in fact, there is a roadblock at the entry of Edo State right now, and the security operatives have actually spotted some areas that will be of red alert, and of course there are security presence in those areas, and the president has spoken that INEC will do their job, and he said he has confidence in the security agencies. And of course, let's see how all of that is going to play out, including the INEC officials. And he didn't stop there. He went ahead to also urge them to remain, this one is very important, impartial. Impartial. My guest is smiling. I think he will have so much to say. As a matter of fact, the president have urged everyone participating in that election to be impartial and avoid any action that could compromise the integrity of the electoral process. These words are thick for me. These words are deep. Coming from the #1 citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I told someone this morning, I said it appears as if this Edo election is a gubernatorial election, but it's looking more like a presidential election. Liu, what do you think about this statement coming from the presidency?
Right, I think it's quite instructive, being the leader of the country, to bring such a statement at this point in time to urge the contenders. That's the first thing, that they should also be sportingly, that's language, in the contest. He also urged the Nigerian police to be impartial. But that statement, Nigerian police, you will recall that the process bringing up to this level, a lot of, especially the present governor of Edo State, have actually accused the Nigerian police of being partial, because maybe they changed the commissioner. Perhaps they also made some arrests, tried to trail some people concerning the death of a policeman. So I think it is expected, because you notice that most off-season election is always like this, because attention will be there. Perhaps we have the governor in that state is PDP, and we have at the national APC. And you recall also that Obedience, or the Labour Party, also have really proved themselves over time. They have a governor close to that place also, in person of Alex Oti. So it will make the contest to be much more, will I say, well, there's a challenge there, but for me, I think all of them should play by the rules, because once we play by the rule, we will achieve fair, credible election, and mostly peaceful, like the president actually urged them to do.
Dr. Aliu, there is this belief when the president is talking about impartial. I know when a lot of people, even you, when I mentioned that, there was a smile on your face.
Right.
I don't know what that smile means.
Right.
I'm a communicator. Anything smile, you know,
it means a lot to
you. Means a lot to me. So this election, a lot of things may be playing out. Now, the president has given this instruction, and he has urged them to remain impartial. But remember, everybody is going to be fighting for how they will win this election. Okay? And one thing that the security operatives are so much after is vote buying.
Right.
How did we get here?
Wow.
Vote buying. We're talking about democracy here. The will of the people to prevail. Why vote buying? If you know you are credible enough, and the present contestant, I'm talking about the candidates, if they know they are good enough for the people, why not allow the will of the people to prevail? Vote buying. That is one thing that is being frowned at, and security operatives are looking out for. How did we get here?
Right. In as much as poverty continues to permeate our society, so you will definitely see the issue of vote buying. Perhaps most people, most electorate, people that will vote will say, okay, let me collect what I can collect, because by the time they become the governor, we may not have access to them. Perhaps, I think it's a practice that has gone scientific. And for our operatives, especially police and EFCC, we wouldn't want to see them tomorrow following people. No, the vote buy has been going on, and it's by different practice. Some is by just a gesture, some is by telling them where to go and get what they want to, pay to them. So I think police and AFCs need to be much more scientific. Perhaps be part of them, get a spy among these people who actually engage in collecting, because that's how you can really bring people to book. But that they will not be vote buying. I can tell you, all major political parties embarked on vote buying. The only thing is that how scientific are they in terms of vote buying? Because I can tell you, APC will do their part to make sure they win. They got the #1 seat. PDP will do their own part. I can also tell you the third voice now that is becoming much more resounding, so to say. The Labour Party will also do their part to emerge as the winner. But the fact remains that if the umpire, which is the INEC, put all they are supposed to put in place and making sure that everything arrives on time and the police do their part. But for me, I think we are over-policing our election. And in the long run, we will also see the hand of the court. Right? It becomes a serious problem. So it is over-police. How can you have 35,000 police officers because of an election, which is expected to be civil according to our president? So it's becoming something that we need to see through very, very well. You know, it's very, very key. But for me, I think over time, having seen Kogi election, you know, you recall Kogi election and the violence that follows it. I think I was on studio on that day and we are seeing everything that was happening on that day. I discovered that it's not easy any off-season election, because LI will be there, and even the national will be there. Perhaps, you know, we have APC at the center. I wouldn't want to liken it to states election, whereby once there's any local government election, the governor party will take everything. But this is a state's governor election. I think it will be different. You will see. Perhaps it's an opportunity for Mr. President to also give himself a good record. You know, because if there's any negative thing comes out from there, people will point accusing finger on Mr. President. So be it party, be it any other party, you should not tolerate vote buying.
Could that be the reason why he came out with all these statements through his special advisor?
You know, we do have a president that has gone through all the process of election. You recall, at a particular time he was fighting for democracy, right? At a particular time he was a senator. At a particular time he was a governor. And it's like a see-it-through president who have experienced different parts.
Perhaps seen it all.
Perhaps if there's anything called vote buying, maybe you would have also passed through that side also, so you understand how things actually work. Unlike President Muhammadu Buhari, who cry in the long run that, oh, I will not contest again. You know, so I think Mr. President is doing a good thing to announce such.
Well, I will not contest again, and that reminds me of a statement that came from the wife of President Jonathan that a lot of people were actually making fun of when she said in one video that she
will not come back again.
I'm not coming back to Aso Rock again. No.
In his funny way of talking.
You know, Nigerians miss her somehow, some persons. Maybe, well, let's just get back to Edo State. Talking about this election, you know, Edo State election lately, since democracy, Edo State election has been this tough. Not just this off-cycle election. This is peculiar with Edo State election. What's so special about election in Edo State that it takes this kind of turn? Well, in other states too, it's not very easy off-cycle election like we saw in Kogi State, and you saw what played out at the end of the day. Ododo State won it from the court. Now, what is so special about Edo State election?
You recall that Adams Ali Oshiomhole took the position through court from Osumbo during that period. So if you look at it from that time, I think it has been so tough. And what made this one to be tough is a fallout between Adam Oshiomhole and the present governor. You know, they supported him so much. You know, they galvanized Ghana support for him, and in the long run, they fall out. And you recall the last election there also was between Oshiomhole. Am I saying Oshiomhole? It was what's the name of the contestant then who now supported this APC.
Obaseki.
Yes, you know, it was a serious tough one, and you know, Obaseki emerged as the winner. So now they see Obaseki trying to become a godfather this time around. He also wants his persons to be there. And perhaps the fallout between Obaseki and his deputy governor, I think it brings another dimension to the case. It makes it so tense that, you know, everybody is thinking there is need for maybe police and security agency to be there. But if you look at historically, if you also look at Obaseki, you know, from his history, he has a way of taking a kind of have a fight and still won in the long run. So we're looking at it. Will it still happen now? And that's the question.
That's the question. Will it still happen this time?
Right.
Talking about Shaibu and Obaseki's saga. Well, he actually wanted to contest for the governorship election, too.
Yes.
And so many
he actually contested the primary.
He contested the primary,
yes.
But so many things happened.
Right.
In fact, I think I was around the PDP headquarters at Wuse the day he came. And before he knew what was happening, to purchase form, and everywhere was crowded. And the way they came, and when he didn't get it. He didn't get it at the long run, and the fight began. And that was when he started indirectly throwing his wing beyond someone else. So I think that also contributed to what is happening in this Edo State election. Then let's talk about INEC. Most of the statements made by the president here has a pointer to INEC, because INEC has a pivotal role to play in this election. We're talking about civility. That is one, coming from the area of the voters too, who needs to be civil in carrying out their civic right. Then come to talk about the fact that in 2023, a lot of people, to an extent, a lot of Nigerians came complaining on social media everywhere on how they have lost confidence in INEC. Do you see INEC having anything to do in this Edo State off-cycle election to redeem her image?
Right. I think it's an opportunity for them again to redeem their image, because at every election, you know, we will judge you by your last election. You know, that's how it's actually run in terms of INEC. But I think I want to urge INEC, if you could do any mistake, don't do mistake of supply chain. How do I mean? The biggest department in INEC should be supply chain department, because what is their business is logistics. You must move the materials to the venue at the right time. So we don't want the situation whereby we're supposed to start by 8 o'clock. These people got their material 8 o'clock and the other people are getting it by 10. You know, it doesn't sound well. Perhaps there are also, from meteorological agency, there's a sign that there could possibly be rain on that day. So that makes it much more instructive for them to make sure they do things on time and provide a shade where people can actually stay to vote, where they are official. Because if they do miss, and I'm happy that they bring that out on time to check the weather, because that would have contributed negatively if there is no preparation for that on INEC. So for me, I think the Professor Mahmood has to also rewrite his name well this time around and make sure they does what is up. But if you recall in Kogi election, they bring REC from other states to actually join the REC in Kogi, and I think it helped a lot. But I have not get to hear that now. I think they should call for more hands. This is an off-cycle election. There will not be excuse that you don't have enough material, you don't have enough hands. You know, they should get all their hands to be on desk to make sure they make it as seamless as it's supposed to be.
Okay, thank you very much, Leo. One thing again that Nigerians most times are worried about is the fact that whether or not materials are available, the inability of the materials to work on that day. Example, the beavers.
Right. I recall I monitored some election very well, and I see the role that beavers actually play. But, you know, the challenge of not knowing your polling booth is not there again. Everybody must have pasted, everybody gets to know. But, you know, beavers, the way it works, I must tell you, it works very, very effectively. Perhaps there will be a backup now, because it is not a national election. It is an off-season, off-cycle election. So if you are supposed to have 5,000 beavers, you can take 15,000 there. So that if one did not work well, you just pick the next. So I think they should work on shock absorber that will make sure that everything works up. Because an error in a particular unit, it's a problem for the entire election. Perhaps, trust the gladiators. Everybody wants to pick where he will use his legal, because like in Nigeria, after normal election, after declaration by INEC, people will still wait for court to declare the person, and that's a serious problem. I think that's what we should work on to avoid it. I think it's only President Jonathan, right, that did not even decide to go to any court of law to actually try anything. You could see Kogi election, although they just got the court, verdict. And I can tell you, because I'm from that state, most of his decisions will say, let us finish court cases first before we can do some things. And it's a challenge. It's not a good one, because if you have succeeded in winning through INEC and you're now waiting for another 1 year to listen to a court decision, I think it's not a good direction for our democracy.
All right, it's still The Desk live on your screen from Global Television, and of course we're talking about the election update coming from the election that is going down in Edo State in less than 24 hours, and I have my guest right here, Aliu, and of course he's doing justice to the statement that came from the presidency to prepare of the people for this election. Let's talk about the fight in the parties. This is an election.
Right.
When you want to talk about election, the party is the channel that is being used, the vehicle that is being used for every party to pick a candidate who will succeed becoming a political office holder at any level.
Right.
Now, let's talk about the fight in PDP, the fight in APC, the fight in Labour Party. Do you think this fight will have anything to do in this election? We heard that through grapevine anyway, I've not researched it, I've not heard from anyone, the people involved, but there is this speculation that, for instance, some obedients are grieved, not supporting the candidature of Apata,
right,
saying he's been imposed on them. Right. This election is tomorrow. Not just that, other parties are still having issue. Somebody like Shaibu, who wanted a ticket but never got it, okay, under the platform of PDP. Do you think he's going to sincerely work for PDP in this election? And so many other misunderstandings. Talk about the Mago, the faction and everything that is happening in these parties. Do you see it affecting this election in any way?
Right. I think it's affecting the election already, because you recall that in PDP, they have internal problem during the senatorial election, and that's why PDP does not have any senator in that, because of that internal wrangling. Now, coming to Labour Party, I saw the vibrancy, the spirit at which Olumide Akpata is carrying that campaign. It's as if he's coming to really make a difference in the landscape, and he's actually making, because it makes them to sit tight and do more. But the challenge is that the person who contested against him, recall last week was when the court gave verdicts that uphold Olumide Akpata. So I think it's those people that did not succeed in court that are now trying to say no, it was forced on them. Perhaps he has not been party player before or what have you. Now, going back to APC, you recall that too, that APC also have their own internal wrangling, because you see the person that become the deputy governor's candidate to Okpebolo, they also have little wrangling. And coming back to Shuaibu case, I think Shuaibu is known with that kind of spirit. In politics, it's what work for you that you really go with. He's tried to really make sure that he reduce the popularity of PDP. I think he has succeeded to some level. Only the voters are going to tell now, because we don't know the direction of the voters. The voter that will say, okay, we are tired with PDP, or we want to give a chance to APC. But there's a lot of allegation, and you wouldn't take away the power of Oshiomhole too. The serving senator, the former governor. So everybody is using their own power. The gladiators are using their own power to galvanize, to bring people closer to them. But my prayer is that let the best candidate win. But in politics, does the best candidate actually becomes the candidate?
That's it. This question is a 1.77 billion question, right? That I can't answer right now. But then just write it down somewhere, okay? Get it noted that on the desk today, the question was being asked, all right? If the best candidate ever win election under the democratic setting of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? We don't know what the answer is. You decide the answer yourself. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we will get to see whether or not the people of Edo State tomorrow will start complaining that they can't get a fare, they can't get vehicle, they don't have transport money to get to the polling unit, the booth, because of the scarcity of fuel or maybe the hike in pump price. When we return, we'll talk about that. Okay, it's good to still have you right there on the desk this evening. Well, on the desk, we're talking about vital issues and, of course, developments coming from Edo State's gubernatorial election, which is less than 24 hours from now. In less than 24 hours, the election will be happening in Edo State. We've talked about the statement that came from the president through his special advisor. Well, as it is right now, special assistant, as it is right now, we are going to be talking about petrol pump price that has rendered the 70,000 minimum wage. What word do I use? Should I use worthless or meaningless, or I don't know? But then, according to NLC, they said is worthless. All right. I don't know, but Aliu, I'm going to be asking you again.
Right.
Will you be surprised if you hear some people tomorrow saying, hey, come on, I won't be able to exercise my civic right because I don't have transport to get to the polling booth? Forget about the fact that it's within locality, a place that might be trackable for some persons. But some persons may say, no, I want to travel all the way to go and vote in my own polling unit where I was registered. You know, some persons probably may even be traveling from the city because of this election. Do you see the pump price playing any role in this off-cycle election in the state?
I think it is expected that some of us want to register in a community polling unit, and it's a factor. So if you are, maybe you are staying in Benin and you want to go to Esako, you want to go to, all those areas, it may be a challenge for people. Then looking at this 70,000 naira, if you change this to dollar, because I like to talk in dollar because it's a global currency, this is less than $40. A salary for people for 30 days. And what's the value? This value has been eroded by forex, by purchasing power, by inflation. So on what level should a Nigerian be earning such money? And I want to urge the federal government to find a way to really do something about it. You recall that even the Labour were promised that there will not be increment in the fuel pump price. Why they agree for 70,000. Now it changed, and it's called for action, because this cannot actually. Let me give you a good example. As an economist, most of us spend about 70% of our income on food. So will this take out? And let's take, say, 20% on transportation. So what will you use for rent? What will you use for logistics? And other things you need to cater to. So I think the Nigerian government need to do more to make sure that our money have more value.
All right, the Nigerian Labour Congress, that is NLC, yesterday lamented the recent hike in the prices of petrol. and that it has effectively nullified the yet to be implemented. Even the 70,000 naira national minimum wage has not been implemented yet, leaving Nigerian workers in a dire situation. And he was speaking, Ajero, I beg your pardon, was speaking at the opening ceremony of a 2-day workshop in Lagos, Team Strategic Strategies for Effective Implementation of the 2024 National Minimum Wage Act for the Southern Zone. NLC president expressed the labor movement's dissatisfaction. They said they are dissatisfied. They are not satisfied with the federal government's handling of the fuel subsidy removal and subsequently price hike. Ajero insisted that the organized labor has been misled by President Bola Tinubu into accepting the 70,000 naira minimum wage as a way to preempt a fuel price increase, a move he said they now regret. Now, what do you make of the last statement by the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress? For you to say you are being misled, you went on a round table meeting with the presidency and every other person that is involved to negotiate this minimum wage, and whatever agreement you had there, as a proactive leader, intelligent leader, you are supposed to forecast, and whatever you're saying there, okay, as a matter of fact, the minimum wage has not even been implemented after some months, which is not even supposed to be. If the agreement was legit and genuine, then come to talk about the fact that you're not coming out to say you are being misled. Was it the president that was leading you before? How was he misled? I don't know how this statement actually sounds to you.
Well, for me, I want to agree with Joe Ajero, because you recall that when you go on a round table, you bring your own conditionalities, the other person bring their own conditionalities. Because if you recall, they promised Joe Ajero that the payment for new minimum wage will start by May, but the implementation will be October. Right, so that simply means by October they will pay the backlog of that payment. And they also agree clearly that there will not be increment in fuel pump price. It was clear, and that's why for me, I think if I have to choose leader between Joe Ajero and Festus Osifo, the TUC leader, I like the way TUC leader always go in case, because he always do not look at the price. It's not about the price or the minimum wage. It's about the conditionalities around it. What can that minimum wage buy? And that's why they said the refinery will be working. We have not seen the refinery working, and that's part of the misleading that Joe Ajero is alluding to. President told us that the refinery in Port Harcourt will start working. You recall, President said so. January, December. That's what we say it, and we have not seen. Is that not a misleading statement? It's quite a misleading statement, because for now, if that has been working, we wouldn't have this pressure we actually having on the price of the pump price. Perhaps there will be something to compete with Dangote to make sure the price actually comes down.
All right, so for the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress to say he's been misled by the president is actually true. Let's quickly talk about the local government autonomy that was being fought tooth and nail until the court gave the judgment. Despite the fact that the court has given judgment, how far is it operational? Has it taken its place right now? Senate will amend the constitution to give effect to the Supreme Court judgment that has already been passed. This is coming from the president of the Senate, the person of His Excellency Godswill Akpabio, who said this, that the Senate will tinker with the 1999 Constitution as amended to allow the Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy to be implemented effectively. And this statement was issued by his special assistant, just like Onanuga actually made that statement for the president, and that is another thing that is bothering the Nigerian citizen right now, local government autonomy. I don't know, but then some persons are saying this might be some form of game, because I personally called a local government chairman when this judgment was passed, and I saw this excitement, but there was this cold faith coming from the chairman saying, hey, this is Nigeria. the judgment has been passed, but then the implementation is what we should be talking about. And true to his word, up till date, as we speak, the Senate president is just talking about it after some months. Now, what is becoming of the powers of the court in Nigeria?
Right. I think if there's anything that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has gotten right, it is this local government autonomy. We must emphasize. Do you know why? Do you know that every state now are struggling to conduct their election? The local government election, every state, because it's stated that if you do not conduct your election, we will not send money to you right from October. So between now and October, I can tell you about 7 states have scheduled their election. Kogi, different of them, because they know that if you don't have a substantial local government chairman, not caretaker, you will not get that money. So it's a gain already on their part. But the thing is this. According to Godswill Akpabio, it's good they actually make it formal, because with the conditionalities that you will not get money if you do not have substantial local government chairman, that's a win already. But going forward, there is need for National Assembly to do more justice to it by making sure that the conduct of local government election is taken out of states electoral committee, which is very, very important, because there is no way you conduct election in local government in state. The party of the chairman, the governor, will always have his way. From grapevine or from some findings, even in Port Harcourt, Fubara Wike saga has made Fubara to be saying, no, if the structure of the party will still go to Wike by allowing PDP candidate to emerge as the local government chairman, okay, all of you go and contest under APP. And because they wouldn't want the structure to go, so simply means that the local government chairmen are like two under the hand of the governors. You also recall one of the states in the southwest, local government chairman, they said, no, we don't want autonomy. We are good under our governor. Is that not surprising? In a country like Nigeria.
Can you imagine
it's
that?
In a country like Nigeria. So it's a serious issue. I think I salute President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I think the council, the people in that council should just go to that person and
it's a group of them. It's not one. The entire local government chairman came and said so.
But why is it like that? People being allowed to be made vulnerable in the hands of a few persons. And someone made a statement. He said, what some of these politicians do is to make the people hungry and vulnerable, so that they would dance to the tune of every of their music. This kind of things happening.
Don't blame them, right? Governor of Ogun State, one of the local government chairman, have a dissenting voice and said, Governor, give us our money. I tell you, within 2-3 weeks, the guy was sacked and removed out of office. So those people that say, okay, our governor, we are under you. Anyway, you push us, we are okay with that. And that's quite sad from a politician in Nigeria.
But do you know the reasons, apart from this, apart from loyalty, do you know what the reasons are why the governors were actually going against the local government autonomy?
It's because of joint accounts. Because now the federal government, we have 50% for federal government, 26% for state, and 20% for local government. So the governors have what is called joint account. So any money that is coming from federal government will come to that joint account, and once it's entered that joint account, the state will now determine what to give to the local government and say, you don't need this is what you need, against what they actually need. I think if we want development in Nigeria, we must have local government autonomy operationalized, not only pronounced.
I think Aliyu is opening our eyes to so many things in Nigeria's politics right now in connection to the Edo off-cycle election that is coming up in less than 24 hours. But now I think it's glaring that the reason why we have caretaker chairmen in most of the states is because of this loyalty. But then where would this take us? Why would Nigerians? One surprising thing about Nigerian politicians is the fact that some of them, not all, I'm not generalizing, but majority of them believe in bootlicking. They want to do things that will make you come in to say, sir, every day, trying to give people fish and not teaching people how to fish. I think, do you see anything in place to erode such kinds of mentality? And do you see, we're talking about the Nigerian youth a few days ago. Do you see any change in mindset, in mentality, anytime soon in Nigeria?
Right. Every local government is under the whims and caprices of the governor. And if you tend to have a dissenting voice or you want to disagree with the person, it becomes a problem. So I think we need much more empowerment. And that is why we are conversing that the Senate should make sure that the conduct of local government election take it over from the state. Because once you do it, you could see that some states we have Labour Party, in some local government we have the Accord Party, in some local government. Why the state governor is PDP or APC? And that makes the beauty of democracy. This is who you know that is going to do what you're supposed to do. Perhaps the person received his money directly from the federation account, so he can actually say our problem is school in this area, build school. Our problem is flood, you create an infrastructure that will stop it. So by so doing, people will now tackle, what happens. Because we have 774 local government. I can tell you their needs are differ. And you could be in a riverine area. Your problem is how to make people to fish more, right? You could be in Sokoto. Your problem is how to make people to be a good farmer, maybe in Granot. So we don't have the same, but most governors use one size fits all. All of you go and build schools. And meanwhile, some people do not need, that's not what they need. So, and that's why there must be local government autonomy.
All right, there must be a local government autonomy. But as it is right now, we're still waiting for what will happen, because the implementation is what we are actually waiting for right now. Nigerians are waiting for that. But I think at least the Senate, under the leadership of Akpabio, will tinker with the constitution to ensure that the judgment is fully implemented without any loopholes for manipulations by the practitioners. And that's what we just talked about. If this is done, it's going to go a long way empowering the local government council chairmen to do what they ought to do, but no longer stools in the hand of their so-called godfathers, who are now governors, who initially were going against the local government autonomy. On the desk tonight, we want to talk about some of the statements being made already by some PDP chieftains as regard the NNPC middleman role between Dangote and oil marketers. As a matter of fact, as I speak with you, Aliu, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Chief Sonny Onuesuke, has already criticized the role of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, that is NNPCL, and of course of the role they are playing as middleman in the supply chain of petroleum products from Dangote refineries to marketers. The former Delta State gubernatorial aspirant of the party made the statement yesterday in response to the full pump price released by NNPC for Dangote refinery products. He also expressed his expectations that Dangote refinery should sell petroleum products directly to major marketers and independent marketers, of course, without NNPC's involvement. Can we say this is a gain? Because the reason I'm asking this question is because most times when this kind of statements come from opposition, some people will say this is political because they are opposition. So this statement, whatever they are saying, is in a bid to discredit the ruling government. Can we say this one is one of those fault-finding statements of the opposition?
Right, I think it is a clear aberration that will have an NPC on this role they are playing. First and foremost, we have NMDPRA, that deal with upstream and downstream. It is their responsibility to determine price. That's number one. So it's a contradiction that we have NPC taking the lead in that. Then secondly, NNPC want to buy from Dangote, but I think that is quite strategic for both of them, and it's a negative externalities to Nigerians, because we want competition. Remember, competition is what will bring price down as expected. Those common basic economies, demand and supply. So when we have more supply, what happens? The price will simply come down. But it is negative on this note. You recall Dangote said he needs 6 supply in a year, then NNPC said, I can only supply you twice in a year. Now, the one you want to supply is not available yet. Dangote has to go to US to import crude oil. So you wouldn't say Dangote should not sell at his own price, because you fail to have competition. What is the competition that we're supposed to have? Imagine if 2 refineries in Nigeria is working, and you know that the one you are producing is sufficient for Nigerians. Dangote will be forced to bring down the price. But now you are making sure, recall, Dangote, to being a businessman, he wants to make profit. And don't blame him, he has expended money. I don't have anything to compete with him. He now said, I cannot tell you price. I'll wait for Federal Executive Council and NNPC to determine the price I'm going to sell. That is quite strategic. Why is he doing so? Dangote wants to sell at global price. And at that time, global price is 1,117. He's now thinking, if he sell this to marketers, no marketer will buy from him. So he now said, okay, NNPC, buy this from me. If you buy this from me, you can now push in the effects. You know, most of them, they won't call it subsidy. They call it shortfall. They call it undercover. Different name they call it, but it is called subsidy. And that's why what Dangote actually want to collect. And it is negative, it's an aberration, because it is when you sell to marketers, marketers will now have interface with Dangote. They will not, because when there is supply, they will not use it to control. However, NNPC also wants to continue to import, to use that to control Dangote. And you recall, once they import, they are going to pay for transportation. I can tell you, our forex, about 40% of our forex pressure is coming from importation of fuel. But now we have Dangote, they want to sell at global price, and Nigeria is not ready to push it. Perhaps NNPC is actually trying to guide themselves. By the time they are producing, right, they want to sell at a particular price. I wouldn't know if the NNPC actually want to make profit, because I don't understand their modus operandi to make sure they are gagging, they are stopping people from going to marketers. It is an aberration. I'm happy that the opposition are coming like this. This is how we have a vibrant opposition who not only criticize but bring good alternative.
All right, this statement, according to my guest in the studio, is subjective enough. And as a matter of fact, well, it's good to have you today. It has been Aliu Ilias. He is an economist and, of course, a development expert. It's good to have you on the desk today. The desk is looking so beautiful. We have so many other things to talk about, but time is not on our side right now, so we need to pave way for the next program. But don't forget that more details about the Edo off-cycle election will be coming on your way tomorrow. So all you have to do to get details about the election is to stay tuned to Global Television for more details. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and so good to have you on the desk this evening. Have a beautiful evening. Bye-bye for now.